Agriculture extension aimed at empowering the rural community through education and communication. It translates innovations in the labs to the lands of farmers. The right information at the right time and place through proper channel is crucial for farming community to take decisions on various aspects related to farming. In the era of globalization, modernization, with changing in government policies, demand and supply, change in technology and market reforms, there is a need to transform agricultural extension systems. Today, we are here to address Second National Conference, TAESERE 2021, aims at integrating all the critical interventions in different dimensions of agricultural extension so as to design appropriate strategies to elevate the scope for futuristic agricultural extension.
On behalf of TAESERE 2021, we, Navya and Akshita, MSc Agriculture Extension, SV Agriculture College, Tirupati, welcome you all for Second National Conference, TAESERE 2021 on Transformation of Agriculture Extension, Strategies for Effective Reformation. Now, I welcome Honorable Chief Guest of today's program, Dr. A.K.Singh, Deputy Director General, Extension, ICR, New Delhi. It's my pleasure to welcome you, sir. Welcome, sir.
I am honored to welcome the keynote speaker of today's speaker, Dr.V.V.Sadamate, sir, Agriculture Extension Specialist and former Advisory Agriculture Planning Commission, Gurgaon, New Delhi.
I would like to welcome our beloved Associate Dean of SV Agriculture College, Tirupati, Dr. B.Ravindranatha Reddy Garu. I welcome you, sir.
Thank you. Good morning to all. The program will start with our university song. Kindly.
We welcome delegates who are participating in today's program across the country. We cordially welcome all the lead speakers, chairmans, co-chairmans, rapporteurs of the inaugural session. We are also inviting on the honorary
ఆంధ్రనాట వెలసినట్టి అధునాతనాలయం అదే మన వ్యవసాయ విశ్వవిద్యాలయం శిక్షణ బోధన పరిశోధనలతో విస్తరణ ఆచరణ ఫలితములతో వీధుల ఎగరేసెను విజయ పతాకం విశ్వమానవోన్నతియే విజయ రహస్యం వ్యవసాయ విభాగాల ఆధారిత రంగాన సాంకేతిక శిక్షణతో శాస్త్రీయ సలహాలతో వృత్తిలోన నైపుణ్యం వృద్ధి చేయుటే లక్ష్యం బోధనతో మేధస్సును పంచడమే ఆశయం అనుక్షణం పరిశోధన నవ ఫలితపు సాధన వ్యవసాయం వ్యయం తుంచి సాయం చేయు భావన ఫలసాయం భూసారం వృద్ధి చేయు యోచన ప్రతికూలత తొలగించుటే పరిశోధన ఆలోచన భరత జాతి జగతికి ప్రగతి మార్గమయ్యేలా ఆంధ్రమాత జాతికంత అన్నపూర్ణ అయ్యేలా రైతన్నల అభివృద్ధికి పెనుబాటలు వేస్తూ ప్రపంచాన పచ్చదనపు రంగు నింపు నిలయం ఆంధ్రనాట వెలసినట్టి అధునాతనాలయం అదే మన వ్యవసాయ విశ్వవిద్యాలయం.
Good morning to all of you. A hearty welcome to all for today's Second National Conference on transformation of agriculture extension, strategies for effective reformation. I once again welcome all of you. On this occasion, it is a great pleasure and privilege for me to extend a warm welcome to Dr. A.K.Singh ji, Deputy Director General, ICR Extension. Sir, hearty welcome to you, sir, as the chief guest for today's national conference. A warm welcome to Dr. V.V.Sadamate, Agricultural Extension Specialist and Farmer Advisor, Agriculture Planning Commission, Gurgaon. Sir, a hearty welcome to you, who is going to give keynote address. A warm welcome to all of you, to all participants, the faculty members of this college, faculty members in the entire university, and students of all the colleges in our university. Sri Venkateswara College, Tirupati is one of the constituent colleges of Acharya Engineering University. This college was established in the year 1961, and now the college is celebrating its Diamond Jubilee. Since inception of the college, a good number of students have been graduated and post-graduated, and also Master of Business Administration and PhD degrees were awarded to students. Several students of this college have joined Indian Civil Services, Agriculture Service, State Agriculture Universities, banks, corporate sector, and several of them are even become entrepreneurs and industrialists. The college also bagging maximum number of junior research fellowships of ICR every year. This conference is one of the events designed to celebrate this year in a befitting way, so as to make it as a memorable year for the students, faculty members, alumni of this college. This national conference aimed at documenting the current status of agriculture extension with respect to its transformation and level of reaffirmation in all its domains to meet the demands of the farming community. There will be a lead paper presentations from the eminent extension professionals from different parts of our country, followed by oral presentations by the participants and a poster session on all the themes. A total of 320 participants from different parts of the country, including the faculty members, extension scientists working in different state agriculture universities, ICR institutions, NGOs, and employees working in private organizations, the postgraduate students, teaching associates and research associates working in different research institutions and private agriculture colleges are participating in the program. I welcome you all for this conference. The subject of extension education had its birth during 1866 in United Kingdom, in England, as university extension. Later, the discipline spread all over the world to meeting the transfer of technologies, technology needs of the farming community. In India, several rural development programs being initiated by eminent persons. Mahatma Gandhi, father of the nation, Ravindranatha Tagore, and others during early 19th century. Later, community development program, national extension project, Panchayat Raj were initiated by the government for the welfare of the farming community. Further, the thrust on resource poor farmers was also made through several programs like Intensive Agriculture District Program, similarly, Intensive Agricultural Area Program, Small Farmers Development Agency, High Yielding Variety Program during 1960s. Later, as a policy reform, reorganized extension system came into existence as TNV, which we all know about it. Krishi Vignan Kendra concept also was initiated during the year 1974. At present, we are very proud that the country is having as many as 716 KVKs in the country to meet the frontline extension activities. Earlier, production-led extension was under focus. Later, market-led extension, commodity-oriented extension, farmer-led extension has been adopted by the stakeholders. Participatory farmer field school approach, agriculture technology management agency also been started to meet the changing demands. And I wish on the behalf of the SPRG College, faculty and students, on behalf of the Acharya Engineering Agriculture University, I wish that this second national conference will become very effective. They will come up with effective recommendations for strengthening the discipline of agriculture extension. Sir, once again, extend a warm welcome to Dr. A.K.Singh, sir, Deputy Director General, Extension ICR, and welcome you all for today's meeting, today's conference. Now, I request Satya Gopal to kindly continue the program. I request Satya Gopal.
Thank you very much, sir. Before going for explaining about the TAESERE, now it is the point of inauguration of TAESERE 2021. Inauguration of TAESERE, please. Thank you. Very good morning to everybody. I welcome all of you for the second national conference, TAESERE 2021. First of all, my respectable thanks to Honorable Deputy Director General, Indian Council of Agricultural Research, New Delhi, ICAR, Sir Dr. A.K.Singh, sir, for sparing his valuable time to be the chief guest for this inaugural session of TAESERE 2021. Really, we are fortunate to have you as the chief guest for today's inaugural session, sir. Most welcome for this today's National Conference TAESERE 2021. So it's my honor to welcome the keynote speaker, today's keynote speaker, Dr. V.V.Sadamate, sir. Sir is the agricultural extension specialist, as well as the farmer advisor, Agricultural Planning Commission, Gurgaon, New Delhi. And sir is having vast experience, and he has been in different platforms, particularly for policy decisions pertaining to agricultural extension, particularly agriculture. Really, we are very, very happy to have two important pillars in the field of agricultural extension to strengthen the agricultural discipline. Most welcome to this particular inaugural session as a keynote speaker, sir. Most welcome, sir. Sadamate, sir. Sir, please, sir. So it's my honor to welcome our beloved Associate Dean, sir, Dr. B.Ravindranatha Reddy, sir, for this inaugural session to be the president of today's function. I welcome all the lead speakers of this today's national conference of TAESERE 2021, who are from different state agricultural universities and national agricultural institutes, as well as working in different universities in the country. I welcome the chairmen, co-chairmen, as well as rapporteurs in different themes. I am very much delighted to invite the the delegates of this today's national conference, who are from Kashmir to Kanyakumari, from all the states, Manipur, Assam, whatnot, almost all the states have been covered for this particular national conference. Really, I'm very happy to have the your association with this TAESERE 2021. I'm very much fortunate to have an international session also. And for this particular program, we have arranged one international session that is tomorrow from 9 to 10. We are fortunate to have two important lead speakers for tomorrow. That's Dr. Vikram Kaundinya, Associate Professor, Specialist in the College of Agriculture and Environmental Studies, University of California, Davis, and Dr. Now Gemere, Associate Director and Program Leader, as well as Professor of Agricultural Extension Education, University of Idaho, USA. So these are the two lead speakers from international session that's going to be held tomorrow. So I welcome all our honorary advisors for the mentors for the teacher who are supporting us for the past 1 year in completion of our successful conduct of all these events. Coming to this particular national conference is concerned, we have 6 important themes we have framed for this particular national conference. One is human resource development interventions. Second one is investigation interventions. Third one is ICT interventions. Fourth one, process interventions. Fifth, development policy interventions. And sixth one is entrepreneurial interventions. These are the 6 themes with which we have proposed this national conference, for which we have received more than 220 abstracts, as well as including 60 full-length papers we have received for this national conference. This is relatively higher than TAESERE 2021. Really, I'm very happy to express this particular issue. So in that way, this particular national conference is going to have all these paper presentations as well as lead paper presentations by the experts across the country within the span of maybe 10 to 12 hours, and we will try to have a valedictory session tomorrow in the afternoon session by 4 o'clock. In the valedictory session, we are going to have one plenary talk also with our expert, Dr. Sheikh and Mira, Senior Technical Expert, Digital Agriculture, International Fund for Agricultural Development, the IFAD, Aero Egypt. That is another plenary talk which we are going to have in the valedictory session. So with this few words, I invite all the delegates as well as the chief guest, the keynote speaker, and all the chairmen, co-chairmen, lead paper presenters for this 2 days national conference. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. P.V.Sathya Gopal, Organizing Secretary.
Sir, now we'll go for release, sir.
Yeah, please.
Release of compendium, please. Sir, I wish to inform you, sir, that the NABARD is giving financial assistance for the publication of the compendium, sir. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Dr. P.V.Sathya Gopal, Organizing Secretary, Professor and University, Agri Business Management, Now, I welcome and request Dr. A.K.Singh, Sir, Deputy Director General, Extension, Indian Council of Agricultural Research, to kindly address. I welcome you, sir, Dr. A.K.Singh, sir.
Thank you very much and good morning to all of you. Is it audible?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir, audible, sir. Continue.
Dr. P.V.Sadamate, our very senior colleague and respected fraternity in extension all along the country, added the different actually extension programs and reforms in the country. I am happy that you are here. Dr. B.Ravindranatha Reddy, Associate Dean, SB Agriculture College, Tirupati, and Chairman of this seminar, this conference. Dr. Satya Gopal, Organizing Secretary, who was in constant touch with me, and all the participants and faculty members of this event, very, very important one, and being organized by a college which is located in Tirupati. All of us wish to come to you. This time also we wish to come, but somehow we could not make it. And for that, I am particularly sorry for that. The topic chosen for this conference is very important one: transformation of agricultural extension, a strategy for effective reformation. So these two words are very important: transformation and reformation. In the whole, you can say, the exercise which you are going to make. And the kind of persons which are going to speak, that was also quite fascinating, because they will bring a lot of experience in the field what they are working. And Dr. Meera and others from other places you mentioned, and definitely I hope that they will bring a lot of value to this conference, and especially the students and youth who are attending working in the subject of agricultural extension, they will be benefited a lot. That what is going around in the globe in terms of extension. Now, coming to extension, broadly we find that there are three players in extension. One is what we call the main extension, that is with the development departments in case of India. And development departments, Ministry of Agriculture, Annual Expenditure, Fisheries, and all those ministries, they are taking a main extension in which the messages generated by agriculture universities and ICR institutions, they are going to them and they provide to the farmers. They have got large number of persons who are posted, and if I go with the data, I find at least 100 in all the districts they have got. Right from village to block level to district level, you will find somewhere 200, 300 persons are also working in a district, and also not less than 100 crore of budget. So the kind of extension which we call is the main extension, which is with the development department in India. But if you go elsewhere, many of the countries are having private extension itself. Many of the European countries, they are having private extension because the farm holdings are bigger, and farmer does agriculture not in as usual mode, but as a business, you can say, entity, having large number of animals, large farms, one commodity focused one. So their extension, many places you will find it's a private extension. We are dealing mostly with the public extension being done on the expenditure of the government of India, state government. In that too, our extension, I said that basically main extension reaching to all farmers is the responsibility of development departments. At the same time, there is frontline extension also, which is very largely evident now. And that is being done by the ICR institutions, agricultural colleges, agriculture universities, and many of the experts, and mostly through Krishi Vigyan Kendras. 727 in the number as of now is spread all across the country. there are 80 districts where more than 1 kVK means 2 kVK are located. So this network is quite unique in the country and nowhere else in the other part of the globe. This kind of, you can say, model which is there at the district level, a full-fledged model with the farm, with equipment, with demonstration units, with the small labs, and 7-8 experts in different areas. And many times it was said that KVKs are small agriculture universities, having multidisciplinary SMSs in the field. So that is another model. Our model of extension is that we establish link with few villages. We train the extension personnel. We go to some distance, and then the major distance has to be traveled by the development department. So this model has been quite fruitful and now effective, has got a lot of visibility as of now by Government of India. And many of the schemes, not only of the Department of Agriculture, but other departments also, for example, Jal Shakti Ministry, even Fertilizer Ministry, and even Anganwadi workers who are working with the Women and Child Development Ministry, they all try to have the, you can say, platform of KVKs for pushing their projects and, you can say, messages to farmers all across the country, all across the villages. So this model, there is a second model, the frontline extension model I said about. And in our country also, you'll find that there is a private extension, there is NGO-led extension. There are certain, and there are even farmers organizations-led extension. So this is the third type of extension, you will say, organizations which are leading to extension. The third bracket of organizations, in which you will find NGOs, in which you will find farmers organizations, and some private organizations also doing some kind of. Cooperatives are also, particularly the cooperatives like Amul, IFCO, doing fairly well. And many of these are working for the farmers, for the benefit of farmers, and on a non-profit mode, many of them. But many of them seems to be working non-profit, but it is not a kind of non-profit kind of interventions. So largely, there are three kinds of, you can say, players in the whole extension system in our country. Now, we talking today that what kind of transformation and what kind of reformation has to take place in the entire extension system. If you look into, extension is not a neutral subject. Many times our students, I'm speaking for them now, many times our students are learning the extension methods and methodologies. That is core of our study. But at the same time, our core of study has to relate with the situation in which we have to work and the priorities of the nations. And many times we find that the extension students are bereft of the technological and societal developments which are taking place all around. And when a time comes that you have to go into the field and work, so we are not aware that much that what is happening around and what is the demand of the country in terms of priorities and the focus. And there we, many times as a student, we find that we are not running how the society is willing from us to do. So there has to be, you can say, a strong bond between the agricultural knowledge, the technological knowledge, and also the methodological knowledge. If these two go together, only then we find that the extension experts are really working well in the field situation. It has to go hand in hand, and all the developments which are happening around in the agriculture science sector, that has to come to the knowledge of the agriculture extension students also. Many times they lack. We don't have the courses like that those developments which are happening in the space technology, even the innovations which are happening in agriculture, the applications of precision farming, these courses somehow lag. And at IRI, we started one such course so that all those developments which have taken place in the recent past, they should be made aware to the student. Because if they learn once extension methodology, then they will again look into, once they will go into the job situation, they will find that what has happened in between 2-3 years, we are not that much aware. So I will request the Dean and all those associated here that besides having all the methodological, you can say, focus, in extension, you must also include the subject matter in which the students need to be well aware about. And if you are aware about both of them, they will be really very, very successful in their area. So if you, I will depict the situation and how the country is moving as of now. For example, you will see that everybody talks about income now. Those are the days are gone when we started talking about the production and productivity much, but now people are talking about income. So our orientation in the extension, whatever we'll do has to be income orientation. The second aspect which is being talked everywhere is the sustainable production. Means we have to conserve our resources, natural resources, so water, soil, environment, and there has to be focus. And we find that many of the things which are there in the field, for example, residue burning. There is one issue which is haunting the planners also and everybody's health also. So this becomes a concern. The water tables in different places going down. Even land quality is getting degraded the way we are using it. Then the other aspect which is very often being talked about, the climate is changing, and so our extension has to change, our course curriculum has to change, our approaches has to change. So this is third most, you can say, the priority aspect on which the extension has to also focus in terms of our own country. The other aspect is that everybody is now trying to be eating nutritious food. So nutrition becomes very important. So how to produce, what to produce, that it becomes nutritious also. This is another very, very important issue on which we have to focus. Then the other aspect which we often talk about, the gender. In terms of our own country, we find that gender, their engagement in agriculture, maybe in the labor force, but not that much in the decision making, and you can say the owner of the assets and other aspects. So how that aspect can be addressed by the extension, that becomes a challenge before all of us in our country too and other countries also. So gender is another area in which extension has to look into. The other aspect on which we have been talking about as a country on the production scenario, that oil seeds and pulses, both are commodities where we are lacking. 1 year there is some production, then there is instability, it goes down. So oil seeds and pulses has to be looked into very systematically by the research, extension and development altogether. Then as of now, you will be also listening everywhere that millets everybody talks about. And millets area is getting reduced time and again. So what efforts need to be done so that the areas under millets increase? This is another challenging aspect before all of us. And there is another thing which is being focused everywhere, that the indigenous food items, indigenous production, indigenous breeds, and the entire, you can say, the research, even our course curriculum, even our extension methodologies and all those networks need to focus on these indigenous kind of things. And we, as of now, after so many years of independence, we are thinking that we are losing our biodiversity, we are losing all the precious breeds which we are there. We are also losing the productivity front, also in terms of many indigenous products. So that is another area where we have to focus in the future. At the same time, there is a demand for organic products. There is also saying that there has to be natural farming. Recently, our Honorable Prime Minister addressed the country. So these two aspects are again very, very important, organic farming and natural farming, that how we can bring into the entire, you can say, the production system, at least some part of it. We say that it's a large country, huge population. Maybe the chemical agriculture we cannot eliminate completely, but at the same time, how much we can go for organic farming, how much can we go for natural farming, so that the demand and supply is also not disrupted. Quality production starts happening, our natural resources are preserved, and we start getting quality food. So I think that is another focus for everyone as of now, in all sectors, whether it is education, research, extension, development, entrepreneurship, everywhere all these aspects are being talked about. The other thing which is very, very important is the youth in agriculture. And youth is also, you can say, an area, and we see in the villages that youth, basically the male, they migrate to the urban bases, they go for even smaller kind of activities which they are able to get. So I find that the youth is another center point on which our extension has to concentrate, that how we are running a program in ICR, we call it ARIA, Attracting and Retaining Youth in Agriculture. 100 KVKs are working on it. That how youth could be attracted towards different enterprises from which income could be generated. So youth and employment is another area on which the entire extension has to focus. The other is the precision farming. We hear everywhere that the drone application has to happen. There has to be some space technology to be applied. Solar energy has to be used for it. So all this becomes important for us, that how precision agriculture can be brought on the fields of small farmers. So that is also a challenge. Can we create certain model somewhere that this precision agriculture starts happening? Government of India recently has, you can say, issued guidelines from the drone applications. So some processes are already happening, how it can be used on a larger scale. Diversification is another issue. And we find that a kind of cropping systems which are prevalent, if you look into Indo-Gangetic place, it is only rice and wheat. So how all those cropping systems which have developed over time, and we have witnessed that they are, you can say, damaging the natural resource base. So how those cropping systems could be diversified? Can we bring into horticulture? Can we go for allied enterprises like mushroom and others? So that is another challenge before us, bringing oil seeds, pulses, and looking into all aspects of production, not only income, not only productivity, but you can say the overall natural resource base and ecosystems which are required to be, you can say, preserved and kept for the future. So these are, I think, major drivers for the extension, what I personally feel as of now, and through which extension has to go forward. These will be the drivers, these will be the areas on which extension has to work very extensively. Now coming to innovations, what innovations extension need to make? Now everybody talks about ICT, that we must have mobile apps, we must have different kinds of platforms, we must have, you can say, direct interface with the customized services also. So these, you can say, ICR itself has got, I think, about 200 mobile apps on different commodities. They are in the regional languages also, and definitely in English and Hindi. So we find that mobile apps can bring little bit change in the society, and youth particularly, they are aware about, you can say, using these smartphones, so they will be connected. And they are getting connected. I find that they are getting connected, those who are having some orientation toward business kind of agriculture. So ICT becomes a big platform. There are many interventions with M-Kisan portal of Department of Agriculture, and more than 5 crore farmers are registered on that portal. And all the KVKs are there on that portal, and they are providing advisory to the farmers. So at one go, you can send a message to 5 crore farmers, and at least a KVK head, he is capable of sending messages to all the farmers who are registered from that district on M-Kisan portal in one go. So that is the, you can say, strength the ICT gives to you. And we are further innovating that basically it has not to be one way, but it has to be a two-way communication. And we are trying to build a platform, Kisan Sarthi, in which we are trying to map all the villages of the country, and few farmers from at least in each village, maybe 35, 40 lakh farmers on that platform. All the ICR university scientists, all the KVKs will be also on that platform. And there can be, you can say, dialogue between farmers and the experts as and when they can raise their queries. And we will be building that platform so that only full system of, you can say, queries comes in more number, and accordingly the answers are given instead of sending all the time alerts and advisories from our side. So it will be based on the query based, you can say, responses from scientists. So this kind of connect we are trying to build. Many small players, many small, you can say, companies also, they have come up with their own platforms based on their own commodities, own enterprises on which they are working. So this is one way, and this has to be, there is a lot of opportunity. Maybe AI you can include into the whole this digital platform, and even remote sensing can be brought into. So I mean to say that every day it can be innovative, the digital platform, and it is being done at different places. Now, the other innovation, what we find in extension, particularly in our country, that we always say that there has to be self-help groups, there has to be commodity groups. And we started taking examples from Bangladesh when self-help groups were actually at the worldwide, they were popularized in Bangladesh. And basically, the self-help groups were operated by NGOs. There has to be a great linkage between the NGO which used to create self-help groups and the banks. Banks used to give directly funds to NGOs, and then NGO used to fund to self-help groups. But our country innovated in that. We used to have NGOs who will build the self-help groups, but funding used to come directly to the self-help groups, not to the NGOs. So that malpractice which happened in Bangladesh, at least our country could root it out, that the funding from bank will come directly to the self-help groups. So we have found that lakhs of self-help groups are there in our country. Many of them are successful and many of them are not successful also. So having some, you can say, experience and success from self-help group model, the government of India has come up with another innovation, and we call it farmers producer organizations. 10,000 FPOs government is going to build in the country. And the purpose is that the small farmers, how they can be brought together. If extension has to happen, and if there are 12 crore farmers, reaching to 12 crore farm family is very difficult for us. But if a cluster is created of 300, 400, 500 farmers, one cluster, so you'll find that the entire farming community can come into clusters. They can start producing in clusters on one or two commodities. They can have their own, you can say, input supply system. They have their own, you can say, processing value addition system. And they can also link with the, you can say, market and trade. So a model of aggregation in which smallholders who are almost 90% less than 1 hectare, 2 hectares, so they could be benefited. So this is being viewed as one of the innovations on which we have to build. Self-help groups were for the smaller groups, but that did a lot in terms of bringing certain income growth to the societies. But now on a higher scale, if you look into, and if I personally feel, if you take the model of Amul, also it's a farmers organization only. Farmers coming together, different dairies are there and farmers are linked in a cluster. They are producing and they are sending their milk to those cooperatives. So if that kind of model, maybe 10,000 farmers coming in one group itself, one FPO. So this is being thought as one of the innovations in extension in which people can come together, production can be aggregated, even processing value addition can be facilitated, and market linkage could be established. You can say complete value chain kind of arrangement can happen through FPO. And this has been notified by the Government of India, being supported by the Government of India, and I hope that all of us as an extensionist must support this kind of idea in which farmers could be brought on one platform. Because working alone for 1 or 2 hectares of land, many times it is not economical to them. And that's why you will find that large number of migrations are happening, youth are not staying in villages. So probably this could be a model, and we find some of the FPOs are really successful. They have come up in a way that they can gain the income, and crores of, you can say, incomes, some of the FPOs are able to make collective. So this is another area which we find. The other kind of, you can say, extension, you can say, thinking is going on, that for same activity, many players are working, and resources are diluted. So ministry also thinks that why not there can be a convergence in the district? Can it be a convergence at the district level? Many ministries are there, many development departments are there, institutions are there, KBKM is there, and also so many private players are there. Can we create a platform where convergence could happen? We try that KVK become a platform on which all can come and a model of convergence could happen. Can we identify a few villages in which all, you can say, those who are working for the farmers can come together and they create a model at the ground level? So convergence at the national level, convergence at the district level, it's very, very crucial. We find that Rural Development Ministry is also running state rural livelihood missions. And they are taking many of the programs on agriculture, whether it is, you can say, integrated farming system models, protected cultivation, all those who are the core activities of agriculture. The Rural Development Ministry is also taking around those water sheds which they are creating. So if you can join both together, probably that may be another area on which you can say that we are able to make certain changes. Now, the other aspect which I find is very important is the kind of group approaches which I required. I talked about FPOs, I talked about self-help groups, and at the same time, can we think of that some part of extension could be private-based extension also? It is being talked about quite often that can private come into the field and work as an extension agency, because as of now, they are dealing only for the. Can they take a responsibility of one district and they start running the entire, you can say, extension, which is required?
Vijabinandan, kindly mute, please. Vijabinandan, please mute.
So I mean to say that these are the few areas on which we have to look into, whether you can say, if you wish that extension has to transform, we must have the qualified manpower, and their human resources need to be upgraded quite often. We also need an extension which can develop entrepreneurs in our country. That is again an area in which we have to focus upon. Some programs, Government of India has already started micro food enterprises. Government of India says that almost 2 lakh micro food enterprises will be established across the country, maybe at Panchayat level, and that can be another way that if youth establishes its own enterprise, he can engage 10, 15 people together. So that is another model that how extension can work. The other aspect, I was talking about convergence, and I will again cite one example what we are trying to do. There are 3.5 lakh common service centers. So what we are trying to do, that can we map all these 3.5 lakh common service centers with Krishi Vigyan Kendra. So a network is created, and as of now, 7 lakh farmers have already registered. So anybody visits to common service centers, he can make a video call on a, you can say, defined timing to the KVK. And he need not to come to the KVK for everything and every time. So that will be another aspect by which we can look into that the person who is sitting away can make a video call. As it has been happening in the COVID period, we have been calling to the doctors for different kinds of advice during COVID, you can say, illness. So that kind of model, video calls from the people visiting our common service centers, and I am happy that one day there were 18,000 calls from the common service centers to different KVK. So there may be many innovations. Our youth who are studying and those who will graduate, they will have higher degrees also, but they must start working for these kind of models which they can establish. IRI came up with a post office model of extension. Many of the post offices which were not having a kind of work, how the new seeds and new varieties could go to the post offices, and the postman itself could be trained by the KVK locally, and then he could advise to the farmers because he was in the, you can say, link with the farmers. So that model again, a post office, you can say, linkage institute, post office linkage model. We long had heard about IVLP model, institutional village linkage program, in which institutes and villages were linked. Another model which we are trying, that there are almost 13 to 15 lakhs Anganwadi workers in our country. So can this group of workers can be linked with the Krishi Vigyan Kendras, other institutions, because they are living in the villages, and many of the aspects like nutrition and others, if you had to create any awareness, because if you look into the data, you will find that 50% of women and children below 5 years, they are malnutrition, they are anemic. So how that nutritional aspect can be addressed? It cannot be addressed only by producing, but it can be addressed also by creating a kind of awareness. People should know that what they have to eat, what they are producing, what they need to produce. So I mean to say that the extension has also to be a nutricentric extension. We are running a program, Nutrition, Agri Resources and Innovations. We call it NARI, and we try to say that how the women and gender, the women and you can say nutrition could be linked together, because women take care of the family and the nutritional aspect they deal, what they cook in the family. So if that can be addressed, that we take up a large scale awareness through these Anganwadi workers and colleges, the students, those who are going into the Railway program, they should focus all these priority areas. They should, you can say, connect all these networks which are already established. This is one. Recently, again, for last 3-4 years, we are running another program which we call Farmer First. And basically on the model of, you can say, IVLP program. In this also, we are working at 52 locations. At each locations, 1,000 farm families. And we are trying to, you can say, create different kinds of models in the village in which scientists could go there and work with the farmers. 50,000 farm families are covered in this kind of program. So basically institutions and KVKs are also linked to those, you can say, villages, 250 villages we are working. The other model which we came up with for extension through ICR was MGMG, Mera Gaon, Mera Gaurav. And this was that institutions who are working in agriculture, they should create teams of scientists, 3-4 scientists connecting to 4-5 villages, a group of 4-5 scientists connecting to 4-5 villages, in which timely they can make some visits, they can have, you can say, mobile connectivity with those farmers and villages, and they can advise if they are having certain programs of demonstrations and others, that is fine. Otherwise also, if a scientist is in connection with the village, he can give many information to the farmers as and when required. So that is another model which we are running, and all ICR institutions are on board. And I am proud to say that almost 13,000 villages are covered through MGMG program of ICR. So this is also a big intervention from our side. We run other program that we call Chamta, Knowledge System for Homestead Agriculture in tribal areas, and 125 districts where tribal population is more than 25%. In those districts, we are creating different kinds of models of technology dissemination, how the technologies which are there in the institutions can go to those areas, and how entrepreneurial activities can happen in those, you can say, districts. That is one intervention which we are doing on a large scale. I talked about income, and for that we have created 1,422 villages in the country through KVKs, where all the farmers were benchmarked, and we are trying that after 3-4 years of time, how the income levels are raised to those farmers who are there in connect with the KVK. And I'm happy to say that many of the farmers are showing, many of the villages also showing promising results. We are collecting cases of 75,000 farmers. The income of those farmers have doubled. And we'll be bringing certainly a publication of 75,000 farmers, one page for each farmer. So it's a mammoth exercise being done across the country by KVKs. And we find that as of now in our country, not only because I am heading the KVK system, but because it is relevant and it is being said by the experts like Dr. Sadamate ji and others, that the KVK is the mainstay of extension in our country. Central governments realize, state governments realize, and they are building their programs around KVK. That is the unique achievement we have seen in the past few years. Transformation of KVK is happening. They are overburdened also, but we are trying to. But at the same time, we find financial support from other ministries also that has started coming. They feel that they have the potential at the district level, and they can, you can say, connect different points and make the technology dissemination happening all the time. So this is what I wanted to say. There are many more things to happen, but at the end, I will say that the extension is one area which has to innovate and innovate all the time. Recently, when I visited European Union, and there was a discussion that one expert from European Union came and he said that we are trying to transform our extension and we are trying to create innovation platforms. So I thought, what is the innovation platform? I further queried them. And they were telling that we try to create groups of multidisciplinary people, the farmers, the scientists, the development departments coming together, and they will try to identify a few technologies and they will work with the farmers on those technologies. Basically a kind of assessment and demonstration what our KVK are already doing. He was very categorically saying that research has not to take place every day. Researches will happen once or twice. Some outputs will come, but the innovations in the farming situations, in the farmers' conditions will happen very often and should happen. And it should happen with the efforts of all these groups, which will come together, they will work together, they will work with the farmers. And based on one technology, many, you can say, innovations used to happen. A recommendation comes to be followed by this way, but once you go to the farmer's field, you will find certain modification has already been done by the farmer, by the way of application, the dose of application, and they get success by innovating on their own level also. And this we have seen at the highest level. The Basmati 1121, which is being talked about as of now, released by IRI, almost fetching 20,000 crores annually from the foreign exchange. When it was recommended by the scientists, the fertilizer dosage were quite low. But when it went to the farmers of Haryana and Punjab, they experimented on their own with this variety. And they said that this requires more dosage to be given to this variety. And finally, IRI scientists also agreed that what the dose they had fixed up it has to be relooked, and again it was standardized. And as a matter of fact, this variety has become so popular. And it got GI also, the entire area and the production, and you can see the production system was changed in the Haryana and through basmati rice. So I mean to say that extension need to innovate all the time. Extension has to work with all the partners which are around. It is not that the sole effort we have to put into from one organization, but many organizations have to come together. I will also say that the national priorities, what the country needs, should be the priority of extension also. We need to innovate how to reach to the farmers. That is another aspect which extension has to look into. Still, there are tribal areas, there are hills. We find it very difficult to reach to them. So we have to keep on innovating, and we have to keep on coming with models by which we can reach to the, you can say, the farthest place, the difficult places, and we could communicate to the farmers. Also, I would like to say that the ecosystem is very, very important for us. And everybody realizes about the carbon emissions and how much agriculture is contributing and how much agriculture is draining the groundwater. And the statistics says that 80 to 90% of the quality water, ground quality waters, is being used by agriculture only. And that is quite huge in our country. That has to be again looked into. The extension has to play a massive role into it, educating people not to do it. Carbon emissions also 17–18% is contributed by agriculture. So I mean to say that there is a lot of things to be addressed by research, education, and extension all together. It's one continuum. I always feel it's one continuum, and we can definitely make a change in the society in terms of their income, in terms of their nutrition, in terms of their health, and overall natural, you can say, environment of the country. So thank you very much, all of you, for giving this time to me. It was happy to share some of the views, and I am definitely sure that the college, which is celebrating its diamond jubilee, I hope. Yes, so congratulations and best wishes to all of you, those who are associated. I also feel part of your university fraternity and joining today, and all of you being here, and basically all those extension professionals and the students who are here today. And particularly thankful to Dr. Satyapal for following me and bringing to this platform for this kind of interface. And someday, if I find time, I will definitely come to the college and will be more happy to interact with all of you. Thank you so much. Namaskar.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much, sir. Thank you very much on behalf of all of us here in the conference. We profusely thank you, sir, for all the so much of good information, useful information you have given to us. You spoke on how KVKs are being utilized by Government of India through Jalashakti as well as Anganwadi, and also you highlighted the NGOs extension, farm organizations, and cooperatives, AMUL, IFCO, and this way so many subjects you have touched upon, sir. So nice, and challenges you said about how the indigenous technologies like food as well as breeds, the cattle, as well as backyard poultry, many aspects you have touched upon, and how about the innovations you have said about that, sir. So, so nice, and you have told also about this simple one, that is IRA model, post office, how a postman can be trained by KVKs so that he can really meet the farmers, make awareness, so many things which are unaware of them to us. You have brought us to awareness. I'm so very glad, so very happy, taken so much time. And in fact, I understand that you must be very, very busy. But in spite of that, you joined and gave such a nice lecture. And in fact, we expect that you will speak for a few minutes, but you have given so much of information and guidance to all the participants, how we should. And you said about quality of water, and you said about carbon emissions, so many aspects you have dealt upon. I wish all the participants are benefited by your nice, wonderful talk given for us today, sir. I wholeheartedly invite you, sir, during this Diamond Jubilee celebrations to come over to Tirupati and seek the blessings of Lord Venkateswara. Once again, I personally invite you, sir, to kindly join us to Tirupati, have darshan of Lord Balaji, sir. Now, thank you very much, sir, profusely on the behalf of the participants, all of us here. Now, I request to give the biodata of keynote speaker, Dr. V.V.Sadamate. Now, Organizing Secretary Satya Gopal garu, kindly continue.
Sir.
Thank you.
I feel very honored to introduce Mr. V.V.Sadamate. He was born in 1953, 1st of June 1953, in village Deshing, the district Sangli and Maharashtra. He's a former advisor agriculture planning commission. He had his primary schooling at his native place, graduated from Pune Agricultural College at 1973. He did his master's and PhD programs in agricultural extension from Indian Agricultural Research Institute, New Delhi. And he had his postdoctoral from Michigan State University, United States as Fulbright Senior Research Scholar. He had his advanced extension management training at Wisconsin, Cornell and Royal Institute of Public Administration, London, United Kingdom. He worked with ICAR as senior scientist and with Ministry of Agriculture as director and then additional commissioner. He joined Planning Commission as advisor agriculture and handled formulation and implementation of 11th and 12th plan for agriculture and allied sectors. He contributed in developing and operating extension reforms. Subsequently, worked as personal consultant of Food and Agriculture Organization, New Delhi, and with the Ministry of Rural Development as agricultural convergence expert with Watershed Management World Bank project. He widely traveled on extension studies, trainings, consultancies, and collaborative programs within and abroad. He was a member core group that trained IAS officers on district irrigation plan, Prime Minister Krishi Sinchai Yojana, and member of developing farmer income exercise of Government of India. He actively associated with government organizations and non-government organization extension initiatives in advisory capacities. He was associated with IARI New Delhi as adjunct faculty. He is presently independent agricultural extension specialist on agricultural extension reforms, policy advocacy, agricultural HRD convergence modalities, piloting extension innovations, media management, etc. He's a vice president of INSEE and a member of ICAR Awards Committee, and the chair member of ICAR Quinquennial Review Team, and Research Advisory Committee of Central Rice Research Institute, Cuttack, and the member of Advisory Panel of National Agricultural Science Fund, and the life member of TAAS New Delhi, and member of BOD's Indian Institute of Agribusiness Professional, New Delhi, and the member of Board of Management of Pantnagar University, and the member of Academic Council of MP.K.V. Rahuri, and Academic Committee of NIAM Jaipur, and actively associated with Extension Program of Manage. Now I would request Mr. Sadamate sir to give his valuable speech. Thank you, sir.
Sadamate sir. Sir, Dr. Sadamate sir, please, sir. Sir, your voice is not coming, sir.
Yes, to unmute. Yes, not unmuted.
Sir, it's unmute only, sir. Sir, we are not getting voice, sir.
Hello.
Sir, yes, sir. Now we are getting, sir.
It's coming. It's coming.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Is it okay now? Okay. Hello.
Sir, now it's okay, sir.
Hello.
Now it's okay, sir.
Now it's okay, na? Okay. Honorable DDG Extension, sir. Associate Dean, Dr. Satya Gopal ji, senior faculty, dear participants who have joined online from different places, and dear students. At the outset, I compliment Tirupati Agriculture College and your university for organizing this very important event on the topic transforming agricultural extension services. I must mention here that person who is leading the extension services in the country at the national level, Dr. A.K.Singh DD extension has given a quite elaborative scenario on how things are happening on extension, both on frontline extension side and public extension side. And after listening to Dr. A.K.Singh sir, I find it little difficult to find out what was missing and where I should begin. The sir has given a complete scenario on how things are happening on extension, particularly frontline extension, how the reforms are taking place in extension services, so on and so forth. I have just a couple of submissions, and I will be very short in submitting those thoughts on extension reforms. There are about 7 or 8 points which directly or indirectly DDG sir has covered it. But maybe at the cost of repetition, I would like to reiterate my thoughts on extension reforms and the innovations in extension, and how should we go about maybe in the next decade or so. I must also mention here that unlike other subjects, the extension subject is very complex. On one side, you have to deal with the technology, other side you have to deal with the farmers, and in between you have to create platforms which will link farmers and consumers. At the same time, unlike Western countries, which sir has mentioned, DDG sir has mentioned, that the farming in our country is a very, very mixed kind of thing. You have a large number of small and marginal farmers. You have farmers with middle level of land holding, and very few of them have a let's say sizable large land holdings. So primarily, we should be, and we have been dealing with almost 80% of small and marginal farming population, and out of 12 or 13 crores. Given a situation, I must submit here that you may have technology, you may have programs, you may have funds and funding arrangements. But I'm fully convinced that if our technology transfer mechanism, if our technology delivery mechanism is not streamlined, not reformed, not updated, then perhaps we will not be able to reach and achieve the things which DDG sir had mentioned, like doubling the farmer income, or making farming as income driven activity, so on and so forth. Our production performance, as DDG sir has mentioned, is quite impressive, and extension services have played a very, very important role in transfer of the technology, making it happen on the ground. You all will agree with me that that the extension function is of paramount importance, because you have been dealing at the front line level, with the farmers. And when I compare our extension task, working with the farmers, and that also in different kind of settings, irrigated, rain-fed, tribal, hilly, etc., etc. The challenges which we face as an extension workers are far more complex and far more huge as compared to the scientists or the technologists who are working on the lab side. They are equally important for us. But as I have an experience in the extension challenges are far complex and far more demanding. Now let's come to some of the points on reforms. There are 8 of them. And the first one, which is of paramount in my mind, is how these small and marginal land holding create their own empowered models. In other words, how these the small and marginal ones could be empowered, take on technology and extension challenges. And therefore, as D.V.G. sir has mentioned, I will repeat. So the promoting self-help groups, farmer aggregates, farmer producer organization, farmer producer companies, etc. probably will reform and transform extension in a bigger way. Because then those small and marginal ones will have a little capacity to negotiate with the technology, negotiate with adoption processes, negotiate with diversification, which D.V.G. sir has mentioned, negotiate with market forces, so on and so forth. I believe that has to be the first and foremost, because once we have empowered groups of the farmers, perhaps the research and extension gaps, research, extension, and marketing gaps will be fairly minimized. The second dimension of extension reforms, which comes to my mind, is how to improve the outreach of extension services, whether it is frontline or a field extension or a private extension, whatever you have. Fortunately, now ICT applications are available, and then we are able to link to large numbers of farmers. However, outreach, may have to be seen in terms of transfer of the technology, how the technology effect has taken on the ground, how we cover large number of farmers and producers, how we empower the small and marginal ones. What is our penetration to the the tougher and challenging areas of extension? That has to be the seen in a totality, and our outreach will have to be enhanced. ICT is one of the two, but empowered farmer and farmer groups could be the other one. While being talking on outreach, sir had mentioned that empowering youths and providing them secondary agriculture type of opportunities will be far more challenging. At the same time, if we have to reform and transform our extension, perhaps the farm women will have to be brought into the centrality of the extension operation, meaning thereby that they would need to be not only trained and capacities developed, but the access of farm women to technology, to credit services, to market services, if that grows up, eventually the extension will have a better pressure of wanted delivery for the farm women and for the farm youth. Talking about farm youth, I must submit that today's farm youth is not interested in the primary agriculture, because when he compares himself with his peer groups who are working in towns and cities and all that, and particularly his wife and children would not be very happy to be around the primary agriculture in the village, because they have aspirations, they have social comparisons, they have peer comparisons. But what will happen if we promote farmer organization, farmer producer companies, and rural youth starts getting in it? Then he gets into almost like a empowered farmer, high tech farmer, a farmer who is very very market friendly, technology friendly, ICT friendly. If we transform rural youth into that kind of role, then perhaps he will enjoy it. The next dimension of reforms would be how to use and build the social capital in the villages. I mean, again, it moves around self-help groups and farmer producer organizations and farmer producer companies and all that. But the important dimension in that is we initiate the groups, but how to make them sustainable and how to make them run through a profitable line, linking it to the best of the technology options and linking it to the best of the income opportunities. And here comes that our frontline and present extension services, frontline and field extension services would need to be reformed to make it happen. The next dimension of our transformation could be on how to promote a streamlined HRD services, human resource development services for the farmers, for the weaker sections, for the extension functionaries, for the village level workers, for the subject matter specialists, and the scientists who are backing up the whole extension. I personally feel that we may need to have a little more introspection on our human resource and training capacities and its deliveries. No doubt, we have a very sound mechanism at the national level, at the regional level, at the district level. We have wonderful institution of P.V.Sathya. For the field extension, we have a streamlined Atma program. Universities are there for technical input. Now, samitis and management institutions are also creeping into, providing more of management input at the cluster level, at the district level, at the regional level, so on and so forth. And at the national level, we have National Institute of Agricultural Extension Management manage. But what is perhaps required is, how these national to regional to district to field level training organizations, how they should combine, how they should interface, how they should use each other's strength. That will be the challenge. While talking about research and extension linkage, I personally feel that we have a good number of platforms at the national level down to the Hubli level or Mandal level. However, the input-output relationship between these different forums, we may have to revisit and see how they can supplement and complement each other. Integrating private extension services is one of which sir has mentioned. My submission here would be, let us promote large number of entrepreneurs. one entrepreneur, can deliver, to the extent of, 10 to 20, village extension workers. Meaning thereby that if we promote, good number of entrepreneurs and, public-private partnership arrangements, perhaps, the extension services will move faster. And the wanted investments and aggregations which, DDG sir had mentioned will start flowing in the moment you have, public-private partnerships down the line, MOE based, farmer organization driven kind of arrangements. Entrepreneurs putting in, money in the extension operation kind of arrangements. And therefore, that kind of, reform will make the extension services move further. Again, I have a couple of, 3-4 points I will take, not more than 5 minutes or 10 minutes more. One is, what is the mechanism that we have in place to capture, feedback from the field? There is feedback from the farmers, from the extension agencies, from the farmer groups. And you can see, what sort of an extension arrangements are, required by the farmers. It's almost like, the bottom-up type. What sort of an extension and, research demands are coming from the farmers, coming from the farm women, coming from the, farm youth. We capture them, at the KVK level or at the, block technology team level, analyze that, and then, feed it back to the, research system, extension system, and, policy management system. If we start, transforming our, feedback analysis and management that way, perhaps, the research and extension will become, more demand driven and more dynamic in delivery. Sir has mentioned about the, convergence of an extension services down the line, which is very important, which will be a very informative, transformational mechanism it happens. In fact, from my Krishi Bhavan days and planning commission days and having, been working with, a couple of international assignments, I pushed this subject, quite a lot, and it is, taking a shape gradually. Submission here is that, you have, good number of extension service providers, state government, line department, private sector entrepreneurs, but in a given village or in a given block, at a given hobli or in a given mandal, can we work out, matrix mood kind of arrangement, assess, the strength of, each, extension service provider, combine those strengths and start implementing on a again MOE basis in a given block or in a given mandal. Work there as a pilot for 1 or 2 years and see the impact of the convergence of extension service providers on the field operations, on the income, on the linkages, on the marketing, etc. I presume that, if you work on these kind of dimensions on a convergence mode, perhaps, we should be able to, do better. Convergence here I submit that each agency will have its own identity, let's say up to district level or up to block level. But if we get into the, mandal or the, the cluster or, group of villages, then perhaps our resources and strengths can be pooled together. And, we make, 1 + 1, 11 kind of situation. Another, very important dimension when I talk about, transforming extension would be, what sort of a priority setting mechanism we have. I mean, how do we decide the priorities, for a district or for a block or for a mandal or for a cluster? Let the priority setting mechanism be refined, a bit. And there are, different instruments are available for that. Name a scheme and there is what we call it as a, district plan. KVK has a district profile, Atma has a SREP, even NABARD has, what you call it as PLPs, potential linked credit plans. Horticulture Mission has, district plan. The Prime Minister's, irrigation program has, district plan. What I propose that, when I think about, transforming, let us have a transformation in priority setting for extension. And if we start looking into, these blocks or these documents, if we start looking into the feedback coming from the farmers, then perhaps our extension priorities would be properly set. Thereby, we can respond as an extension agency, a public sector agency or a private sector agency. We can set what I see. We can set proper priorities for various levels and organize our resources to deal with that priority. Perhaps we should be able to address small and farmers and even needs of the resourceful farmers properly. When I talk about ICT and media management, definitely DDG sir has also mentioned that it is coming up as one of the very big innovation, and we may have to have a little bit streamlined strategies approaching one on all maybe possible if we start working through media and ICT. But can we have something like segregated approach that wherever a mass media can work and how ICT can supplement or how social media can supplement, or wherever social media have reached, however the electronic and print media can supplement. Meaning thereby that as we think about transformation in extension services, perhaps a combination of media, combination of ICT, combination of what I call it as social dimensions will be far more required. Last couple of points that perhaps in today's generation, there is a heavy focus on information transmission. Information deluge of information is coming to the farmers and farming community. But I would prefer as one of the transformation mechanism. Can we empower our farmer groups, self-help groups, our women groups, our youth to retrieve what is applicable to their ecology, their microecology, and have something like farmer women and farm youth knowledge groups promoted by the farmer organization and by the farmer producer companies, etc. Another important dimension when I think about transforming extension services would be how the extension services are extended to the allied sectors. Good or bad, there is a structured arrangement down the line, for the crop sector. But when I think about horticulture sector, animal husbandry, dairy, poultry, fishery, even a little more on homestead farming, etc. The extension arrangements are either weak or missing. Perhaps that is another area that how to strengthen extension services, integrating allied services, or promoting specialized services for allied sector, maybe through private sector, through private sector entrepreneurs, would be another very good dimension to try. Friends, these are about some of the points. But lastly, I must say that when I think about transforming extension, revitalizing extension, then our, the research have to be. Yeah, am I audible? Am I audible? Hello.
Yeah, audible,
Yes, sir.
sir.
Yes, sir. You are audible.
Yeah. I will. I will
Ismail,
just. I will
Madhuri,
just.
please mute.
I will just conclude in a few minutes
No, no problem.
that research and extension will have to be seen afresh. Whether it is postgraduate research or a doctoral research or research projects, extension. The dimensions of research will have to be refined quite a bit now. In the sense, you have various extension service providers, how they should integrate, can be a research project. How the research output should be captured by our field functionaries, by the subject matter specialists, and integrated to the research main system, can be another dimension. What sort of HRD arrangements we should have can be another dimension to research. What sort of entrepreneurship arrangements we should develop at various levels can be another challenge to the research project. How the media combinations could come up at the block level, at the district level, can be another challenge to our extension research. So friends, I can go on and keep on submitting areas, but these are 7 or 8 areas which come to my mind when we think about transforming the research. Number one is empowerment of the farmers. Number two is how to link research and extension effectively. Number three, how to promote private sector partnership. Number four, and how to increase outreach of our extension services. Number five, how to integrate the innovations which are happening and making them strong, for transforming extension. Number six, could be convergence. Number seven could be, priority setting. Number eight could be, research and extension, research in extension. And finally, I must, mention here that the training and capacity building of, you know, small and marginal producers to, farmer organizations to extension functionaries to research and extension linkage operators, so on and so forth. So, friends, I have a write up and PowerPoint. I'll share with Dr. Satya Gopal and those who are interested on these lines. Transforming extension or making extension ready for the next decade. The extension and innovations have been, tried to we have tried to capture. Fortunately, I'm getting a wonderful guidance from Dr. A.K.Singh sir, and we are working with Dr. Parada sir on an extension, innovation, reforms dimension. Maybe within a couple of months, we will have our that formulation ready. And as sir had mentioned that if DDG sir is willing, probably we can sit for a day or 1 day and a half, subject to corona situation, and deliberate down a little more on this transformation subject. There are two options now. We set the transformation and then start working, or the other option can be identify the couple of areas and then start working on it straight away. While responding to Satya Gopal's proposition, I got in touch with Honorable Vice Chancellor. I'm going to have mentioned that why not we sit at a couple of places at Tirupati or at your university headquarters, identify 3, 4, 5 interventions, and start thinking about piloting those interventions with existing arrangements or with reformed arrangements. Perhaps that will be a befitting answer to the topic. Finally, I thank especially Dr. Satya Gopal and Honorable Vice Chancellor and Associate Dean and Director of Extension for giving me this opportunity. And particularly, I'm very happy that, when DDG sir was there, I enjoyed, listening to him. And, he has a very rich, experienced country as a whole. And, the submissions which I have mentioned, perhaps, Mr. Gopal, you kindly see that, they are undocumented properly, and we take it up to the Honorable Vice Chancellor and Honorable DDG Extension, maybe DGICR, and see some of them are, pushed through our existing mechanism. So friends, thanks a lot for giving me this opportunity and listening to my thoughts on reforming and transforming extension services. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Thanks a lot. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir. Sir, Associate Dean, sir.
Yeah.
Sir.
Yeah. It was a very nice keynote address given by Sir Dr. V.V.Sadamate. Very nice, sir. Thank you, sir. Thank you so much for the nice address that you have given. And in fact, you have highlighted the address made by the Honorable Deputy Director General, Dr. A.K.Singh, sir. Thank you, sir. Thank you very much, sir. So nice of you. Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Thank you.
Now,
Satyagopal, sir, and organizers, I have a submission that I have to travel to Dehradun.
Sir.
So I will take your leave, and I'll be in touch with you to capture the outcome and carry it forward.
Definitely, sir.
Thank you very much. I'm leaving. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much, sir. Thank you, sir. So, before proposing for vote of thanks, with the permission of our beloved Associate Dean, sir, on behalf of our college, our Associate Dean, sir, staff, students, and on behalf of the organizing committee of TAESERE, we are highly or profusely thanks to our Honorable Vice Chancellor, sir, Dr. A.Ravindranatha, sir, for giving the opportunity for us to organize this particular national conference. Is being organized on the occasion of Diamond Jubilee celebrations of SV Agricultural College, Tirupati. Really, it's a great event and it's a great occasion. We feel very proud, and we feel really it's an opportunity given by our Honorable Vice Chancellor, sir. Thank you very much, sir. And we're also highly thankful to our Dean, sir, Dr. A.Pratap-Kumar-Reddy, sir, who is so keen in giving guidance for us for the successful conduct of this particular event. Sir, all the university officers, including our Dean, sir, are very busy with the academic council meeting. In spite of that, I used to contact sir for getting time to time guidance. Really, I am highly thankful to our Dean of Agriculture, Dr. A.Pratap-Kumar-Reddy, sir, and other university officers. Then I'm highly thankful to our two technical advisors. First of all, our university head, sir, Dr. B.Ravindranatha, sir, University Head Agricultural Extension, and Dr. S.V. Prasad, sir, for giving timely guidance while conducting this particular event. Sir, I'm highly thankful to you, sir, for giving us the timely guidance, sir. And we are highly thankful to our DDG, sir, Sadamate, sir. Now, actually, the program we plan to start at 1:30. However, we will continue with the what we call the schedule which we have given earlier. That is at 2 o'clock. We'll start the technical sessions at 2 o'clock. 3 sessions will start by 2 o'clock. All the delegates are requested to be ready for that. At the same time, I humbly request all the co-chairmen, chairmen, and the lead papers, rapporteurs to be ready by 2 o'clock, so that we can start the program without much delay. Now I request the Rakshita to propose the formal vote of thanks. Rakshita, please.
I feel honored to express my gratitude to all those who have made this program remarkable. First and foremost, on the behalf of university, I would like to extend my heartfelt thanks to the Chief Guest, Dr. A.K.Singh, Deputy Director General Extension, ICR New Delhi, for gracing this program despite of his busy schedule. Your presence today has immensely enhanced its importance. We are extremely grateful to you, sir, for your insightful address. Thank you, sir. I deeply extend my thanks to keynote speaker of today's program, Dr.V.V.Sadamate, sir, for sparing his valuable time and for delivering informative keynotes. I wish to extend my thanks to Dr. B.Ravindranatha Reddy, sir, Associate Dean of SV Agriculture College, Tirupati, who always stand by us, leading us and motivate us. We thank you, sir, for your constant support for making this event a grand success. I also thank the contribution of organizing committee who worked really hard to make the program arrangements and for success of the program. I also thank all the delegates, lead speakers, chairmans, co-chairmans, rapporteurs of the inaugural session. Finally, I thank all the supporting staff, teachers, students who worked behind the scenes to make the event successful. Thank you all.
Gopal sir, please unmute your mic, sir.
So before concluding, I personally and profusely thank our DDG sir, ICR Extension, Dr. A.K.Singh sir, for accepting our invitation and giving a valuable address. Really, we are very, very happy for your address, sir. I'm highly thankful to you, sir. And also we are highly thankful to our Sadamate sir for giving a valuable address, a keynote address. Before concluding this particular session, we'll go for the national anthem, then we will close the session, sir. Thank you very much, sir. Thank you, sir. National anthem, please.
जनगण मन अधिनायक जय हे भारत भाग्य विधाता पंजाब सिंध गुजरात मराठा द्राविड उत्कल गंगा विंध्य हिमाचल यमुना गंगा उच्चल जलधि तरंगा तव शुभ नामे जागे तव शुभ आशीष मांगे गाहे तव जय गाथा जन गण मंगलदायक जय हे भारत भाग्य विधाता जय हे जय हे जय हे जय 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 हे
We'll meet at 2 o'clock, sir. Thank you very much, sir. Thank you. Namaste, sir. DDG, sir.
Thank you. Thank you. और नमस्कार आप सब लोगों को. Thank you so much. Thank you. So I will take leave now.
Sir?
I will take leave now.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much, sir. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. Reddy ji, sir. Thank you.
Thank you. Namaskar.
Namaskar.
Okay, we'll meet at 2 o'clock. Uday, please.